Mr Speaker, it's a great pleasure to rise in the House in support of the Airport's Cost Recovery Processing of International Travellers Bill 2010. Interesting to listen to the last speaker, a member from South Auckland, an area that was bombarded by aerial spraying to control the painted apple moth under the previous Labor government for 6 months. Under that government, over 9 years, there were 8 tonnes of raw meat products imported each year on people's person, mainly into the Mangere Airport in South Auckland, where that member came from, and mainly from Pacific Island nations. And that member can stand in the House and say that National is doing a poor job in biosecurity, Mr Speaker. Quite an interesting concept, I'd suggest. Mr Speaker, the Primary Production Select Committee received the Airport's Cost Recovery Bill on the 15th of November and submissions closed on the 7th of October. We listened to 3 of the submitters that asked to be heard. All of the submitters that asked to be heard, in fact, were heard. And the key points that they raised with us that the committee took into consideration in its deliberations was what was described by a couple of airports, mainly Palmerston North and Hamilton airports, as a potential to be a little short-sighted around cost recovery in their restarting or re-emerging if they could find suitable international carriers to come into there. The committee considered that seriously because that was an issue that was worthy of consideration and chose to ensure that the biosecurity of New Zealand was upheld by ensuring that costs were able to be recovered by the 3 main lead agencies that are involved in carrying out that border control. The committee also looked seriously at the recommendations that were put forward by the ministry officials and decided to accept, in most cases, the recommendations that were brought forward. I won't go over them all, Mr Speaker, because the Minister clearly outlined them in his speech. So that's there for the record if anybody wishes to go back and look at it. The objective of this bill was to reduce the government's exposure to unexpected and associated costs to do with airport clearance or immigration clearance, if you like, through our airports and goods and services through our main ports. And the agencies that are most involved, of course, are aviation, our biosecurity, MAF biosecurity, and, of course, our customs service, Mr Speaker. And I think, on balance, the Select Committee has come down in a position that clearly has widespread support in the House. I look forward to the passage of the bill, Mr Speaker, and I look forward to these actions being put in place. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker.